Cast and crew. Aside from the three lead actors, other notable cast members include Robbie Coltrane as Rubeus Hagrid, Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy, Alan Rickman as Severus Snape, and Dame Maggie Smith as Minerva McGonagall. Richard Harris, who played the role of Professor Albus Dumbledore, died on the 25th of October 2002, causing the role to be recast for the third installment, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. David Heyman and director Alfonso Cuarón chose Michael Gambon to portray the character of Dumbledore, which he did for all succeeding films. Notable recurring cast members include Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange, Warwick Davis as Phileas Flitwick, Ralph Fiennes as Lord Voldemort, Brendan Gleeson as Alastor Moody, Richard Griffiths as Vernon Dursley, Jason Isaacs as Lucius Malfoy, Gary Oldman as Sirius Black, Fiona Shaw as Petunia Dursley, Timothy Spall as Peter Pettigrew, David Thewlis as Remus Lupin, Emma Thompson as Sybil Trelawney, Mark Williams as Arthur Weasley, and Julie Walters as Molly Weasley. The series has seen many returning crew members from various departments, including Tim Burke, visual effects supervisor, Peter Doyle, digital film colorist, Nick Dudman, makeup and creature effects designer, David Holmes, stunt double, Amanda Knight, makeup artist, Stephanie McMillan, set designer, Greg Powell, stunt coordinator, Jani Temim, costume designer, and Fiona Weir, casting director. Set design. The Hall of Christ Church in Oxford, England, the inspiration for the studio film set of the Great Hall of Hogwarts. The production designer for all 8 films is Stuart Craig. Assisted by Stephanie McMillan, Craig has created iconic set pieces including the Ministry of Magic, the Chamber of Secrets, Malfoy Manor, and the layout for the CGI Horcrux Cave. Because the novels were being published as the films were being made, Craig was required to rebuild some sets for future films and alter the design of Hogwarts. The studio film set of the Great Hall of Hogwarts was one of the first sets ever created for the series. He said, "In the early days, every time you saw the exterior of Hogwarts, it was a physical miniature, which was made by craftsmen and occupied a large soundstage. We ended up with a profile of how Hogwarts looked, a skyline that actually I didn't design, and it wasn't always satisfactory. And as all the novels got written and movies got made, there were new requirements for buildings. The astronomy tower definitely wasn't there originally. And so we were able to add that substantial piece. And in the last film, we needed an arena for the battle for Hogwarts. The big courtyard outside doubled in size. And if you look at the first movie, it wasn't there at all. There were quite some liberties taken with the continuity of Hogwarts. In the last film, Craig used a digital model instead of a miniature to embrace the latest technology. On the method of creating the sets, Craig said he often started by sketching ideas onto a blank sheet of paper. Stephanie McMillan also said that each film always had plenty of new challenges. Citing the changes in visual style between directors and cinematographers as an example, along with the developing story in the novels. Due to J.K. Rowling's descriptions of various settings in the novels, Craig noted his responsibility was to place it together. Craig commented on his experience working in the studio environment. "I'm the production designer, but on a big movie like Harry Potter I may be responsible for 30 to 35 people. From the supervising art director, and a team of art directors and assistants, to draftsmen and junior draftsmen, and then on to model makers, sculptors and scenic artists." He said, 10 years ago, all the Harry Potter drawings were done in pencil. I would take my roughs and plans and sections and give them to a professional architectural illustrator. who would create concept art using pencil and color wash on watercolor paper. He said the process changed slightly throughout the years due to what he called the digital revolution of making films. When filming of the series was completed, some of Craig's sets had to be rebuilt or transported for them to be displayed at the Warner Bros. Studio Tour. Cinematography. 6 directors of photography worked on the series: John Seale on the first film, Roger Pratt on the second and fourth, Michael Saracen on the third, Slavomir Idziak on the fifth, Bruno Delbonnel on the sixth, and Eduardo Serra on the seventh and eighth. Delbonnel was considered to return for both parts of Deathly Hallows, but he declined, stating that he was scared of repeating himself. Delbonnel's cinematography in Half-Blood Prince gained the series its only Academy Award nomination for Best Cinematography. As the series progressed, each cinematographer faced the challenge of shooting and lighting older sets, which had been around since the first few films, in unique and different ways. Chris Columbus said the series' vivid coloring decreased as each film was made. Michael Saracen commented on the change of visual style from the first 2 films to Prisoner of Azkaban. The lighting is moodier, with more shadowing and cross-lighting. Saracen and Alfonso Cuarón moved away from the strongly colored and brightly lit cinematography of the first 2 films, with dimmer lighting and a more muted color palette being utilized for the succeeding 5 films. After comparing a range of digital cameras with 35mm film, Bruno Delbonnel decided to shoot the 6th movie, Half-Blood Prince, on film rather than the increasingly popular digital format. This decision was kept for the 2-part Deathly Hallows with Eduardo Serra, who said that he preferred to work with film because it was more technically accurate and dependable. Because the majority of Deathly Hallows takes place in various settings away from Hogwarts, David Yates wanted to shake things up by using different photographic techniques such as using handheld cameras and very wide camera lenses. Eduardo Serra said, "Sometimes we are combining elements shot by the main unit, a second unit, and the visual effects unit. You have to know what is being captured, colors, contrast, etc., with mathematical precision." He noted that with Stuart Craig's amazing sets and the story, the filmmakers could not stray too far from the look of the previous Harry Potter films. Editing. Along with continuous changes in cinematographers, there have been 5 film editors to work in post-production on the series. Richard Francis Bruce edited the first installment, Peter Honus the second, Steven Weisberg the third, Mick Audsley the fourth, and Mark Day films 5 through 8. Music. John Williams scored the first 3 films and received Academy Award nominations for the first and third films. The Harry Potter series has had 4 composers. John Williams scored the first 3 films, Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and Prisoner of Azkaban. Due to a busy 2002 schedule, Williams brought in William Ross to adapt and conduct the score for Chamber of Secrets. Williams also created Hedwig's theme, the series leitmotif which appears in all 8 films. After Williams left the series to pursue other projects, Patrick Doyle scored the 4th entry, Goblet of Fire, which was directed by Mike Newell, with whom Doyle had worked previously. In 2006, Nicholas Hooper started work on the score to Order of the Phoenix, reuniting with director David Yates. Hooper also composed the soundtrack to Half-Blood Prince but decided not to return for the final films. In January 2010, Alexander Desplat was confirmed to compose the score for Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. The film's orchestration started in the summer with Conrad Pope, the orchestrator on the first 3 Harry Potter films, collaborating with Desplat. Pope commented that the music reminds one of the old days. Desplat returned to score Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2 in 2011. Yates stated that he wanted Williams to return to the series for the final installment. But their schedules did not align due to the urgent demand for a rough cut of the film. The final recording sessions of Harry Potter took place on the 27th of May 2011 at Abbey Road Studios with the London Symphony Orchestra. Desplat and orchestrator Conrad Pope Doyle, Hooper and Desplat introduced their own personal themes to their respective soundtracks, while keeping a few of Williams' themes. Visual effects. There have been many visual effects companies to work on the Harry Potter series. Some of these include Rising Sun Pictures, Sony Pictures Imageworks, Double Negative, Cinesight, Framestore, and Industrial Light and Magic. The latter three have worked on all the films in the series, while Double Negative and Rising Sun Pictures began their commitments with Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire, respectively. Framestore contributed by developing many memorable creatures and sequences to the series. Cinesight was involved in producing both miniature and digital effects for the films. Producer David Barron said that, "Harry Potter created the UK effects industry as we know it. On the first film, all the complicated visual effects were done on the US West Coast. But on the second, we took a leap of faith and gave much of what would normally be given to Californian vendors to UK ones. They came up trumps." Tim Burke, the visual effects supervisor, said many studios are bringing their work to UK effects companies. Every facility is fully booked, and that wasn't the case before Harry Potter. That's really significant. Final filming. On the 12th of June 2010, filming of the Deathly Hallows, Part 1 and Part 2 was completed with actor Warwick Davis stating on his Twitter account, "The end of an era. Today is officially the last day of principal photography on Harry Potter, ever. I feel honored to be here as the director shouts cut for the very last time. Farewell Harry and Hogwarts, it's been magic." However, reshoots of the epilogue scene were confirmed to begin in the winter of 2010. The filming was completed on the 21st of December 2010. Marking the official closure of filming the Harry Potter franchise. Exactly 4 years earlier on that day, author J.K. Rowling's official website revealed the title of the final novel in the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.